I'm Steve Williams, and this is Scooter and the Sticks. I recently had a comment on one of my videos asking me the question, how do you cope with 24 horsepower on the Himalayan? And at first I wasn't sure whether I should be offended or confused. Offended that someone was implying some deficiency or weakness in my motorcycle, or confused that I wasn't quite sure what I had to cope with. So it's a above freezing winter day. I need to take the Himalayan out for a little exercise. So let's go for a ride and talk about what there is to cope with the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Seems the big defining question about whether a motorcycle is any good, or it's the yardstick by which so many of them seem to be judged, is how fast will it go on the interstate? And I guess my feeling with the Himalayan is I've ridden plenty of miles on the interstate, and it will cruise comfortably at 70 miles an hour. Now, it begs the question though, what are you actually going to do with your motorcycle? If you got a daily 60-mile commute on an interstate highway, I wouldn't choose a naked motorcycle like the Himalayan. If you're going to be going on adventures, but you have to ride for 3 or 4 days, all day long on an interstate highway to get to your destination, then I certainly understand why you may not want to get beat around all day long on something like this. But the trade-off is then you get off-road and you've got a big, heavy motorcycle. But the question about is 24 horsepower a problem? For me, it's not. And it's only going to be a problem for someone that wants to go more than 70, 75 miles an hour. Now, the speed limit here is 55, but yeah, I'm not going to run it up to 75 because I don't want to get a ticket for a video, but I'm certainly comfortable with traffic on the interstate here. But for everyone, you're going to have to make your own decision about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to ride. It's always struck me though, and I can only speak for men, I don't know how women think about this, but there's so much ego involved in the choice of a motorcycle, how big it is, how small it is, that really sort of gets in the way of making any really informed, intelligent decisions. I know a lot of guys with really big motorcycles that don't ride much because it's a really big motorcycle and they're not comfortable, or they got the wrong motorcycle for the job. They picked it purely on aesthetics, let's say. I like the way this looks, but it's not really what I need. And anyway, the 24 horsepower question isn't an issue for me. For any paved back road or secondary roads, the Himalayan has more than enough power to go as fast as you can reasonably expect it to go. Now, if you're riding a sport bike 90 miles an hour, no, it's not going to do that. But at any reasonable legal speed, Himalayan's fine to keep up with traffic. And 24 horsepower is absolutely not an issue from my point of view. Beautiful day out to ride. For those of you who don't ride in the winter, if you're adequately geared up, I don't feel any different now than I do in the summertime. Actually, I'm probably more comfortable now than the summer because I'm not hot, but the cold stays out and I get to ride. And we have plenty of days in Pennsylvania during the winter where the roads are just clear. Now, I do accept that there may be some salt grit and things on certain roads, but I get home, I'll take the hose to the bike and wash that stuff off. Still a lot of ice on the mountain roads here. It's hard to distinguish what's wet from what's ice. But move across here. Yeah, we get down a little lower and it'll be fine. But anyway, regarding 24 horsepower on the Himalayan, for me it's not much of an issue, and certainly not off the pavement. What's really nice about this motorcycle is the torque is accessible at relatively low RPMs compared to other motorcycles that require you to ride a little more aggressively to access the torque. A lot of people refer to the way this motorcycle rides as a tractor, and I certainly agree with that. It chugs along at low speeds with a lot of torque, and to me it's an advantage, not a disadvantage. Now, as far as speed, I mean, this motorcycle will go as fast as I ever need to go off the pavement, and it's kind of funny. I was reading a comment on one of my other videos that was comparing their motorcycle to the Himalayan, and they said, my motorcycle will go 112 miles an hour. And I kind of chuckled, and I thought to myself, well, when will I ever need to go 112 miles an hour? I seldom go over 70 miles an hour, even in a car. So, short of a zombie apocalypse or something, I don't see myself being limited at all by the top speed of this motorcycle. So the motorcycle's been exercised enough. I'm going to make my way home. Nothing like following school buses this time of day. Hopefully, yeah, they're all going a different direction than I am. But until next time, this will wrap things up. Be well, ride safe, and this is Scooter and the Sticks.